And we should be live. Hi, everyone.
Hello,
I am
everybody.
here with David. David and me, we're going to run Sealand Open in a minute.
We are.
And we are here today to talk about the missions for Sealand Open, which is from our Commander's Compendium.
Yes.
And David, could you just talk people through the pack? Because it's also a little bit special, the pack.
It is indeed. So it's an escalation campaign, meaning we are running two escalations, meaning three lists, and we have it spread over three different points. At 400 points, there's list one. Everything in list one must be used in list two. You are allowed to upgrade the amount of men in a unit or the equipment that they have, but not veterancy. List two, which was contained list one, is 800 points. List one, sorry, was also maximum one platoon, meaning the rifle.
So a rifle platoon, yeah.
Exactly. List two is the rifle platoon, and plus whatever you upgraded with, and one other platoon. So max two platoons. And then list three is 1250 points. Again, you have to use everything from list two. You're allowed to upgrade the amount of men and the equipment, and you're not allowed to have 4 platoons. So that should give people some opportunities. And I've looked through all the lists. People have been very good at making some very interesting lists, I would say.
Yep. I haven't been through all the lists, but as soon as I have, we will do another video where we talk about the meta of Sealand Open. It is very interesting with that many lists and how you build a list. For me, at least, I know both you and I built a list for this because we're both like putting ourselves in the ringer box. So if people don't turn up, we'll play. So both you and I made a list, and I know that I made it in a certain way, and I've heard about others who made it in the opposite way. So for me, I just built a rifle platoon, and then as soon as I had that, I spent another 400 points, and then I spent the final 450 points, and that was it.
Yeah, that's the same way I approached it.
But other people did it the opposite way around. They knew what they wanted to end up with, 1250, and then they started going backwards, which was apparently very, very difficult.
I can imagine that being a tough exercise.
Yes.
My thought was the first user. So the whole reason for the escalation is also I have this narrative idea in my head of a single platoon being out on patrol, meeting another platoon, and then for the first two games, and then calling for backup, getting close backup. So that's the 800 points, and then finally getting maybe the next day a full confrontation. Now that you know kind of who's there, so now you do a full push to see if you can conquer the enemy, right? So that's like the narrative idea behind my escalation.
Yeah.
So doing it in the reverse, I can see both point wise and unit wise why that is a little bit of a difficult task.
Yeah, it's a little bit of
interesting way to approach it. Yeah,
interesting way, which I think means that at least one list at 400 points is like 40 or 50 points short because of the way the player built it.
That's why.
Yeah, that's why.
But I mean, I honestly I did the same from my list 2 to list 3. I not 40, 50 points, but 12 or 20 points. Like, okay, I don't have anything good to use them on, so instead of just using them to upgrade, a few extra men in a unit, I said I'll rather spend them for something nicer in my list 3. So that was an intentional deduction, but that's maybe easier to do once you're doing it the way you and I have done it.
Bottom up and
up. Bottom up, exactly, bottom up,
yeah. Right. Today we're going to talk about the missions for the 400-point games. And I have the mission pack here, which I will now share with you guys. We are playing Seek and Destroy and Breakthrough. So let's go to Seek and Destroy first. Seek and Destroy, we have long edges, outflanking and infiltration allowed, and basically it's kill point, right?
Yeah, that is what Seek and Destroy is.
With dice in bag deployment. Very easy mission, very nice to start off with. We'll have a lot of newer-ish players, rookie players who are coming. It's very nice to just start on something that's easy to play, isn't it?
And it falls into the narrative idea I have, right?
Yeah.
You are on patrol, you meet the enemy, you
You
try
try
and
to shoot them
you try
away.
to eliminate the enemy right there and then and there, right?
Right. One thing that you'll notice here, if you're paying close attention at home, you'll notice that um, you just have to score 2 extra points in many tournaments, and in many tournaments in version 2, you have to take 3 extra points to win a game of kill points. We've set it down a bit for this game, um, so that it's easier to actually get a result here, which I think
Yeah,
is nice.
it's 400 points. Having looked through the lists, we haven't done a meta analysis yet, but most people are around 7 kill order dice,
Yeah.
which is
So,
of course a lot lower than most people are
yeah.
used to playing with. But it's also only 400 points, so people still manage to get to 7 order dice on 400
Yes.
points.
Yeah.
Some even got up to the 8, which was the maximum for
Yeah.
list 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you had to have 3 extra points, that would have been very difficult because you needed to destroy so much of the enemy. So how would you play and win this one? Um,
So I play the United States as my primary army,
yeah.
and I've built a ranger focused list, especially ranger focused, maybe in the 400 points.
Yeah.
And some in the later lists, the focus shifts a little bit. So I would be somewhat aggressive to try and see if I can score a couple of easy kills with
Mm,
very fast paced rangers that get the extra shots as an American from their fire maneuver unit. No, sorry, fire maneuver
yeah.
army special rule,
Yeah.
and secure those 2 points, and then play extremely defensive after that.
Yeah.
Americans excel at skirmishing, so I would
Mm,
skirmish to kill and then skirmish to defend.
yeah.
What about you? You have a partisan list, right?
No, I built a German list.
A German list. I didn't know you had a German
Yes.
army, though.
I do, if looked at in the right light. So I have a Ukrainian Axis list, and they're all wearing German uniforms. I just painted them up in Ukrainian colors. So there's a lot of blue and there's a lot of yellowish green stuff, um, and um, and I'm going to use them as Germans for this one.
Okay.
Um, so I have Cossacks in my list for my 400 points. So what I am
Oh,
going to do is I'm going to try and ride around the enemy's flanks and try and get into his soft bits in the rear and hope that I can take a couple of points like that, or at
okay.
least like move away because Cossacks and escape moves that just works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is my gambit for winning this one. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very different
Well, if
approach.
both of us don't end up playing and TOing is fairly minimal, maybe we just take a quick game while everyone else plays.
I think we should. I think we should. And then the second game is Breakthrough, also at 400 points.
Yes, yes.
So here we are playing. Well, basically, it's a version of the old sectors, right? Um,
That's somewhat,
with
but
with
breakthrough
with
still you have to get
slight
off
or
the table to score the maximum points.
yeah. So you are allowed to infiltrate, which can be really good in this mission. If
Yes.
someone has splurge on infiltrators, I don't know how many have, um,
Not that
and
many.
not many, no. And you score 3 points for each of your units that have moved off the enemy's deployment zone edge. Now, notice this: deployment zone edges is these black zones here. So for this blue zone, it's both of these edges here that you can move off. But it
Yeah.
can be rather difficult to get there, right? Because it
I
can be a
mean,
long way.
that's the goal for when you defend, right? To make it hard to get to those things.
Yeah. And you also score 1 point for each unit that's completely inside the enemy's deployment zone at the end of the game.
Yes.
So no points for the neutral zones, but still you're going to have to move into it's sort of like playing a version of sectors and double envelopment combined, more or less.
Yeah. So I think we have to leave some of those V2 mission names
Yes, we
in the
have to leave
past
them behind,
and
although they
try to
stick in my
embrace
head.
the new V3
Yes.
mission types.
Yeah.
Because it is different from V2 in many ways, right?
It
Both
is.
the fact that its breakthrough is now on a sector map or in a quadrants map,
Yep.
and that the neutral zone is no longer scoreable.
Exactly. But at the same time, I also think that this whole deployment zone edge thing has become really important because it's rather easy now in V3 to do outflanking and stuff. Not in this mission because it's not allowed, but you can do a lot of stuff now with where the actual deployment zone edges and where the lines on your flanks are. All of that becomes really important for me.
Yeah.
So, how are you going to play this mission? How many order dice do your 400 points list have?
I forget if I ended up in 6 or 7.
Yeah, I have 7. Yeah.
I like to believe I ended up in 7, but I might have ended up in 6 because I chose the expensive Rangers.
Ooh.
I don't remember. I've looked at all the lists, so everything is kind of blending together in my head. But since I do have Rangers, which have this Rangers lead the way special rule, meaning that before this game begins, after setup, they get to make a run move, which is 12 inches.
Yeah,
I will definitely try to, depending on how my opponent has deployed, see if there's a quick way to run those out. One of them at least, maybe both of them. I think I have two sets of Rangers.
Yeah.
And then backed up by the rest of my list to kind of maybe keep him down so he can't shoot them off. It will take 2 full runs.
It will take more than 2 full runs because
no, actually, I think it'll take three full runs.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the I'll be 12, and then it's the diagonal, so it's more than 24.
But you get one of those runs for free as you're a ranger.
Yeah, exactly. So in turn 1, I will potentially be like 3-4 inches away from his deployment zone edge.
Yeah, you will.
But of course, if he has a very good defense, they would get mowed down depending on the terrain.
Yeah.
So but that's my initial plan.
Yeah.
Which might change depending on how he deploys compared to my deployment, right?
Yeah. So you might want to set them up last and really hold them back in your deployment and then plonk them down and run.
They'll be the last 2 dice to go down for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, you with 18-inch run move Cossacks, you're gonna be. But it'll still require 2 run moves, right?
It will. Yeah. It will. And I'll have to be sneaky about it because as soon as my opponent sees my army, I've seen a bunch of these lists, and most of them have so many LMGs in 400 points because they really want to have. And my regular Cossacks can't really take LMG fire in any
because you can't go down. So it's take it on the mouth or right away.
Save is crap. So I'm going to have to be clever about. And use terrain, but if I can get a table that has enough line of sight blockers, I should be good to go. I'll just sit, hover like.
You have 1 or 2 units of Cossack.
2.
I'll
split them up, I think, and then hover 15 inches from his deployment zone edges, and just wait until because that will also box him in, so he's not moving towards me.
Absolutely.
And then try to run out.
And you're allowed to run out on an escape move. Escape move is only 9 inches, so that will.
So that I need to do an active order, I think, to escape, or potentially depending on how defensive he gets. Right, if he draws back from me, of course I'll push in and then he can't get me. So that's how I'm going to win that one.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, that'll leave you in a strong position unless you play against the Polish Lancers.
Oh crap! No, please don't. don't. I don't want to play against Polish Lancers on this one.
There's two Polish lancers, which is quite rare. We both have Fia, who is probably top 2 of best lancer players in the world, and then we have Lucas, who is up and coming Polish lancer player. So
and both of those could do well with those. No, yeah, I don't want to face Polish lancers, not with Cossacks. That's a losing
but
fight.
see, the clever thing about the Polish lancers is in this type of mission, and maybe especially in this small, is you actually use them to charge something that's defending that corner of the deployment of their deployment zone edge.
Yep.
And then use the consolidation move to move out.
Yep. Which is brilliant. Which is brilliant. And we've just given away all the tricks for how you play cavalry in this mission. But yeah, well, we're not there to win anyway. So what do we care?
No, you and me? No. I did try and make a fairly strong US list, but if I am playing, which I don't think I will be, I'll do it in a very cavalier fashion. So, and not power game.
Right. So that was it from us today. Tomorrow we will release another video, a little more hype for Sealand Open. And why are you guys not there this year? You really need to come. There's also a brilliant painting competition, Ink of Valor, that we're going to run. That David is the author and brainchild of his. And so, yeah, come join us next year. But tomorrow we will release the 800 points. Talk about the missions for that. See you then.
See you.